Hello Factorio people! Welcome back to the broadcast from Space Age XL. We're on the road to megabase. Big bases, big proper expandable real bases. Hope you're all doing alright. I've got quite a blocked nose and I have a blocked nose most of the time anyway, as you probably have worked out by now by all the mouth breathing. It's quite bad today. So apologies for that, especially if I sound out of breath. It's because breathing and talking at the same time is quite hard. Don't know if you know that. Right, if you want to do the odd like, comment, subscribe for me. We're going back to Gleba today. We've got to go back. Oh god. But yes, let's jump straight into it, shall we? Last time we got all the rocket launch hub sorted on Vulcanus, if you remember. Yes, rockets. We used that to be able to bring one of our larger frigates full of stuff, full of good stuff, back to Nauvis. Tungsten carbide, tungsten plates, etc., which we need for speed modules, which will be definitely good. And artillery shells, which will also be good, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, did we do? No. So we're going to spend the first half of the episode just bolstering the things on Nauvis. Now that we've got a nice, good way to just bring everything back, especially turbo transport belts, you know, foundries, big mining drills, etc. So let's start with that, shall we? I've automated artillery shells. Explosives and stuff was here anyway. Calcite is coming into the landing hub thanks to the calcite farming ship that orbits Nauvis, and yeah, it does pretty well. I added some more cargo bays. Not too many, because I need the space. I suppose I could build them out this way forever, right? They're not going to. Well, no, they do spawn in a bounding box around the ship, so if I build too many cargo bays up like this, then the asteroids will suddenly... I mean, a lot of them spawn up here anyway, but some of them at least. Anyway. Which means that we are now launching artillery somewhat automatically, and by somewhat I mean completely. Not very quickly, which is probably for the best, because expansion is off as well. Just every now and then, you know, an artillery shell makes its way out, tidies up some of the area, and the biters just very slowly retaliate. They don't get very far. Yeah, a behemoth biter, a behemoth spitter actually manages to do some damage to us, but for the most part it is extremely under control. Boom. It's not hugely cost effective, but it is at least still fun. And then as we research more levels of artillery, range, and explosive damage... Don't know why I'm doing stronger explosives. I kind of thought stronger explosives might help, but it obviously doesn't. But I'm just doing it anyway. Because it's one of the cheapest things that we've got left to do, really. Kind of. Anyway. I've also brought back some stuff from Fulgora, so yeah, you might see some of these every now and then, but that's just the turrets. I've also brought some of the goodies back from Fulgora to help us with green circuits. So now green circuits are just being made in EM plants with their 50% passive productivity bonus, with a 1-to-1 ratio with the copper wire, which also gets the 50% productivity bonus, which is nice. So this is making more than 2 belts, is it? Yeah, this is making more than 2 blue belts of green circuits for less iron and less copper. Yes, I could be... We talked about this before when we put the foundries in. Why am I just making the iron plates straight away? Why am I not just bussing the liquid iron? It's more just because obviously my entire infrastructure is set up to have iron on the bus. If I took iron off the bus and replaced it with fluid, I would have to rebuild everything. Everything that involved either steel or iron plates. And so many... I don't know if you know this about Factorio. Iron plates go into quite a lot. So I'm just doing it like this for now. It's fine. And then the same with red circuits, of course. Yeah, it's a lot of red circuits. Is it more red circuits than we were making? Good question. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's not really a fair test, because there's also this. It's not really a fair test, because we don't use anywhere near this many advanced circuits. But don't worry, we'll find a good use for it. We better do advanced processing units next. Sorry, just processing units. They're advanced circuits and processing units. They're two different things. We better do that. I suppose we better do that next. There we go. Pretty simple. Also filled it with quality modules, and also there is, of course, a processing unit productivity bonus anyway. So this is on 120% productivity. And this does use 2 belts of green circuits. Well, it uses more than 1 belt anyway. You can see here I've snuck in the 2nd belt. And then here is where it's needed, so then that just carries on like that. So obviously the benefit of this is that I'll be able to just copy and paste some more bits of it to extend it if I need to, which I probably won't for a little while. And then what's the best thing to do with all the new circuits? Well, make modules with them, of course. We're still just really relying on Mark II modules. Mark III efficiency modules need spoilage and aren't really that good anyway. The issue with these is that if you use them just by themselves, you hit the energy consumption cap quite quickly, at minus 80%, with only 2 of these. If you put them in beacons to use, then I always thought, with the beacons, that the distribution efficiency falls down. You know, it gets less good. So obviously the first beacon is very good, the second beacon is very good. But this means that you can have speed modules like this. So this is crafting speed 4.04 now. Even just an empty beacon lowers this to 3.58. So putting the efficiency modules in actually also lowers the crafting speed. I always assumed that the way it worked was it counted each module that was coming from a beacon. So it would just say like, oh, there's 4 speed beacons, so 4 divide, you know, 4. There's 2 speed beacons happening, or each one would be a half or something or whatever. So like the 4, and this would be, you know, 2 from 1, and these would be completely separate distribution efficiencies. But no, they're actually completely tied together. It's actually 3 beacons. It's just 3. The answer is just 3. So efficiency modules in beacons are really quite bad because they cannibalize your speed beacons. So I really don't see the point in efficiency module Mark IIIs anymore. Which is good, because they're the easiest one to make as well. The quality ones need biter eggs, which we don't have automated yet. These need tungsten carbide, which we can quite easily get from Vulcanus now. And quality modules need superconductors from Fulgora, which we can do. And I have plugged in another 2 rockets into Folgora. I've used some of the solid fuel to just make the rocket fuel, and I've turned the rocket fuel... Oh, I don't have any requests. Oh, I don't need anything, that's why. Yeah, that's right. I don't need to actually bring in any rocket parts to Folgora now, because our scrap system is sorted. All I've done to our... I've just added processing units, and I should probably add low density structures to this as well, so just keep processing scrap until we have everything we need, and of course we can get loads of low density structures, 13,000 currently sat in the system, 3,000 processing units, and this will keep processing scrap even if we have enough science and enough EM plants. This will just still keep processing scrap until we get to 4,000. And then we turn the solid fuel into rocket fuel. So yeah, rocket launchers on Folgora are also extremely free now, which is very, very helpful for bringing in lots of EM plants. And we make recyclers here now, somewhere, maybe. Oh yeah, just here. So just give me a whole bunch of recyclers, and I'll just put quality modules in here just to start. You know, these will be helpful once we start properly doing quality, but my opinion of quality is just... Really, it's got to be an afterthought up until the very point where you want to start doing it, and then you can go all in on it. Doesn't really benefit you to sort of do it half and half. Anyway. Let's not spend too long here, because I do want to go to Gleba. Gleba is obviously still working. We know it's still working, but this is all of our Gleba, and this isn't very XL, is it? This isn't very good at all, you know? There's an excuse on Folgora, at least. We've only got one bloody island. Vulcanus, we have gone as big as we feel is necessary right now. But Gleba, what is this? This is pathetic. So let's go to Gleba and get some stuff bloody done, shall we? Oh yes, that's right, we're back, baby! To the objectively best planet. I'm just trolling you, because I know some people have some very strong opinions about this. We will use the grid system, of course we will. The first thing we had to do was start farming loads of landfill, because Gleba is, quite a lot of it is like this marsh, not this. This marsh sort of land needs landfill to build on, but if we start farming landfill, then that's okay. Some stack inserters, why not? And we'll start building a grid. Turn off the logistics bots, we'll do it with belts, we'll get this done properly. Obviously I've brought the Lunar class ship here, full of green belts, and well, green belts is probably the only thing we'll really need. Everything else we'll just have, like biolabs, and obviously we'll need bulk inserters and stuff, but we can make stack inserters if we need them also. So we'll just let these bots continue to do this. We can bring over some landfill to speed this up manually if we really have to. Oh, I brought some roboports as well. I brought just a few roboports. Because you know what my grid section design is like. It's very, very roboport intensive, which may have been a mistake. It may have been a mistake. But, you know, we're in for the long haul now, so... Alright. Let's let them get to work, shall we? Okay, this is a pretty good start. This grid section here gets us the agricultural tower. I've put down as much of the soil as I could, just the basic soil one, just not the overgrowth soil yet. Still managed to get 2 Yamako ones and a nice jelly nut seed one there. And this is the space we have to work with, which should be fine. This is the plan. This is the vague plan, right? This many. 1,600 a minute. For now, just for now, obviously, that's not the end goal. Let's just get the ball rolling, shall we? Let's just get the ball rolling on this. This is basically 1,000 a minute, accounting for spoilage and other various Gleba things going on. So we'll scale everything around this-ish, roughly. I'm very, very worried. I'm very worried about 1,000 pentapod eggs a minute. 18 a second net. 18 a second net. Like, that doesn't sound that bad. But you only get 0.2 a second net from a single biochamber, including the productivity bonus. So, we'll see. We'll see if I've bitten off slightly more than I can chew. Yeah, so like, and also, like, you can see quite how much of a grid section here, this grid section especially, needs the landfill. And quite how much detritus there is on the ground to pick up. Are there any construction robots left in the system? Just 40. Have I got them all in my inventory for some reason? Probably. That's easily fixed. I made... you're going to tell me I'm full of junk, aren't you? I made some Tesla turrets on Volgora as well. Very, very easy. Just hook up one EM plant to the electrolytes and a requester chest, and then the exact same for the Tesla turret. Everything else you just have. You do have to put the supercapacitors in a box in the same way that the superconductors are in a box, but that's fine because we'll want to bring supercapacitors around, especially back to Nowvis, because they make portable fusion reactors and personal battery Mark IIIs, which we should probably just crack on and make. Should probably just crack on and make some of these. But our armour is full of, you know, we've got one epic Mark II battery here. This is just the quality mall ticking over on Nowvis, just sort of doing its thing. We've cleared all the biters from the artillery, by the way. This nest has no idea how lucky it is. Oh my god, get out of the way! They can't hear us, they've got their earpods in. What the hell was I talking about? Ah yes, the quality mall. I did have to add some more chests because we were totally full of stuff, and I'm not really sure why I'm leaving this ticking over, making a whole bunch of stuff. Like, can you sort? You can't sort by quality in this, can you? I do have a thing for this. I did make a thing for this actually. That reminds me. This blueprint in the utilities, the quality finder. So you put this somewhere, don't know where. Find this item. What should we say, folks? Should we say something stupid? Let's say iron plates. So then this brings you a full chest's worth of that item, because the parameterization lets you configure the stack size times any number you want. In this case, obviously, because we're using basic quality chests. If we were using higher quality chests, then that number would be different, but as far as I'm aware, there's not a way to do that, so you kind of just have to do it on a basic chest. And I've used that up here just for the modules for now. So the modules that come out of this process with quality, so like this one should, in theory, oh no, because it's a green one, because it's a green Mark III. So I haven't actually done one of those for that yet. I've just done Mark 1s and Mark 2s just to sort it out, you know, just so that I can see at a glance. And I've made them green chests as well, so that if you do have any recipes that need them, you can, because obviously your blue chests won't pull from a green chest unless request from buffer chests is selected. So as soon as all of these, like this was obviously a mistake because, oh no, it's done it all already. But now none of these will go out of the box because this one doesn't have request from buffer chests on it. But as soon as it does, they'll start asking for this. Oh, here they come. Here come all the logistics bots finding all of the blue iron plates for me. Is this a good idea? I don't know. Sometimes you just need it though, right? Sometimes you just want it. It really bugs me how some UIs... So like this one you only have to single click, right? Whereas every other UI, like this one for example, doesn't close when you click it. But if you double click it, it does close. Because double click is essentially the same as pressing E in some instances, but not with parameterization. Just for example, you know? Just for example. The other thing that really bugs me about parameterization is this bloody green tick. The number of times I've gone to parameterize something in a blueprint and then gone, yep, I'm done, and clicked outside somewhere, and it hasn't saved it because I haven't pressed the bloody green tick. Anyway. Sorry, this is a huge aside. These robots are taking forever to... my advice to you is to sort power out, like, straight away. I really dropped the ball when it comes to power supply here. I kind of was bringing in rocket fuel in the same way that I was asking for it for the rocket silo, but it's so much easier to make rocket fuel from the jelly and the bioflux. Where is that recipe? Yeah, this is so much easier. So much easier, and it makes so much rocket fuel. One biolab of rocket fuel will make more rocket fuel than one heating tower can burn, even at completely full blast. So if you still don't have enough power after that, you just don't have enough heating towers. One heating tower can support 4 boilers, and 4 boilers can not support 8 turbines, but they can support more than 7 turbines. So I'm really not quite sure what you're supposed to do about that. It's just one of those things, I guess. Get higher quality heat exchangers. Yeah, probably something like that, but who knows? Nobody on Earth knows the maths for that. It just can't be done. Can't be done. I'm joking, of course. Anyway, alright, okay, so yeah, I would recommend sorting the power out first, but this is what we're going to build to. We're going to build to this specification. Everything else will be scaled along these lines, so I suppose we should get to work. Alright, this is your starter for 10. This needs 18 bioflux a second. This can make 36 bioflux a second, but obviously we need a lot of bioflux going to other things. But at least it's a start, right? At least it's a start. Yeah, that's fine. And so then this makes plus 9 eggs a second. So we can... what did we establish? 27.24. So this is 20 biolabs. This is 4 biolabs at 127 speed. My point... the point is this is 27.24, and this is exactly a third of that. Look at that. Look at how neatly that lines up. That would be true regardless, because they both have the same speed. Yeah, this is crafting speed 4.54, and so is this. So even if I had a... even if I took all of these beacons out, that ratio would remain. Yeah, this is now 12, so this should be 4. Yeah, exactly. So this is 16, this is 20. Oh, no, not quite 22, 20. 16 over 20, 4 over 5. There we go. It's a 4 to 5 ratio of 5 to 4 ratio of eggs to biolabs. For every 5 biolabs making eggs, you can support 4 biolabs making agricultural science. And then this is designed, so we need 3 of these basically. This is designed in such a way that this will do this, but I'm not going to do that straight away, of course. I want to just get some of it working. We don't have the infrastructure on now Vis to even consume that much science. So we'll just get things up and running. We know what Gleba's like. Every time you... oh, it's probably working. Oh, there's an edge case that I've forgotten about that's made it stop working. And that's basically the next 20 hours of my life. I don't think it took me 20 hours. What are you doing here, Cliff? Cliff, get lost! You bloody Burks. Not 20 hours, that's not fair, but you know, a lot of trying this, oh, I've forgotten this edge case, trying this, oh, if this belt gets exactly clogged in this exact way, then it all breaks. You know what Gleba's like, folks, you know what Gleba's like. It's good. It's definitely the best planet. Definitely. Am I being serious anymore? Nobody knows. Nobody knows, and you never will. Okay. So scalability is the name of the game right here. So this makes an obscene amount of nutrients, 120 per second. There's absolutely no way we will need that much, but it will balance itself, and this lets us just go, oh, I need more Yamako mash. Boom. In theory. In theory! You know? With a plan for spoilage and other spoilage from bioflux. Spoilage from bioflux is less likely because it spoils in 2 hours. So it's less likely that the bioflux spoils, but you still need a plan for it. Of course you do. And then we'll bring in... Yeah, we'll stop doing the logistics bots thing. We'll bring in seeds on the belt. Can store excess seeds rather than burning them, because we'll definitely need excess seeds in vast quantities for the overgrowth soils. So we definitely need to store the seeds now. We were burning them before just because we had nothing to do. The other little tip is when you do your seeds, do them by hand first. I keep going in and out of the menu because I can't work out what it is I'm trying to say. Do your seeds by hand to start with. So, jelly nut seeds, for example. Just get rid of all my stuff. Jelly nut seeds, for example. If we walk over here, if we put jelly nut seeds in the agricultural tower, yeah, the agricultural tower will plant them. Of course they will. But you know what it'll do is it will only put one in each square because it's lazy. Oh my god, are you really... Oh, it's because power is an issue. Hang on, I can fix this. Entities? I'm in entities. Force build? Why won't you force build in editor mode? That's very strange. Why won't you force build in editor mode? Shift force build in editor mode does not work. Is that a bug? Should it work? Where the hell is landfill? Oh, I'm gonna need... No, I'm gonna need tiles. Oh my god, editor mode. Why? Why you like this? Let me guess that's not in the right place. Sorry, I'm bad at the game, folks. I'm bad at the game. No, I don't want a ghost, I want a real one. Thank you. Okay, back to it. Right, sorry. It will only put one in each square, which is fine. Turn editor mode off. Which is fine, but it's very inefficient. Oh my god, I forgot I was on 64 times speed. It's very inefficient, whereas I can, like, manually place so many more. This would be working better if I wasn't on 64 times speed, because I'm sure it's not checking 64 times more frames. Maybe it is. Right, look how many more seeds I've got. So this will get you started a lot faster, at the very least. It's my little tip, anyway. Yeah, I mean, how helpful is that? Not very, probably, but there we go. Got to do something, haven't I? It's kind of working, sort of. For certain factors of working. You make a hell of a lot more jelly nut than you do anything else. I'll tell you that, for free. I've put some turrets down just to experiment with turrets. You don't have any power. Yeah, we need more jelly nuts. I didn't think that... no, so we need more Yamako. Jelly nut is fine. It's the Yamako that seems to be the problem. Need a lot more Yamako than anything else. But anyway, it does at least work. And there's various things going on here. This doesn't quite work because this bell is such a pain in the bloody arse. Because this square of bell is never ever used. This can spoil before this, if you can believe it. So this can be sat here as spoilage. For whatever reason, somehow, for whatever reason, And then this is jelly nut. So this arm never picks up from this thing, so the whole thing gets blocked. Don't ask me how it happens. It finds a way. Life finds a way. So this, in fact, needs to be... Just don't have any belts that don't do anything for you. Don't do that! Alright, that is actually fine. And the benefit of doing this is that at least you then get like 2 long-handed inserters, and you can kind of clear the spoilage at twice the speed. Oh, the spoilage is... No. The inserter is... It's because you're too full of jelly nuts, because I'm using too much jelly nut. You can now at least... This inserter will now at least put spoilage into the output and then swing. It didn't always used to do that, which... Oh, God. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Alright, so the jelly nut's fine. The Yamako, we need to bolster the Yamako. The Bioflux is spoiling because the jelly nut and the Yamako is getting to the Bioflux too slowly, or at least the jelly nut is very old by the time the Yamako shows up. Well, this is a good example, right? Like, this, it does happen. It can happen. This spoilage is never going to go anywhere until these spoil. And then if spoilage somehow gets on the... in an ideal world, you would have the spoilage thing like before, but then you also need one afterwards as well. Anyway, so this is making some bioflux. The bioflux is going up here. And this isn't doing anything yet. And I'm not doing the full amount of eggs and science just yet. I'm just making sure the infrastructure is there. Of course, the problem with making loads of science that you can't use is that eventually the machines get full, and then the eggs hatch, and then it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. But, you know, we do at least have a Gleban bus, which is nice. It is nice. Alright, let's keep experimenting, shall we? It is actually functional now, at the very least. At the very least, we have rocket silos full of kind of full. I haven't quite worked out yet that you need to split this, or otherwise this one's going to be full and this one's never going to get any. But that's alright, don't worry, we'll work out in a minute. I also felt beholden to sort of utilise the stuff that was being burned to make power. Because power continues to be a problem, because I am not making rocket fuel with all the jelly and bioflux that I'm making, because I am an idiot. But then these heating towers run entirely on excess eggs, which is not particularly foolproof. Especially because we still don't make enough bioflux, because we still haven't got enough... Which one are we short on? Yamako. So, like, I keep upping this number, right? The circuit condition only picks fruit when we have less than this number. And then I get to the point where it's never, ever, ever higher than this number, so I go and I add another one. And then I have to find stuff to make the soil, and, oh, Gleba. Why are you so good and interesting? Still haven't worked this out yet, but this is at least still working. Have we got an example over here of when it will break? Not quite. What about you? No, you are at least still actually working. This is me experimenting with taking excess... Because we make so much more nutrient than we need, this tends to spoil. So I was experimenting with some sort of using the spoilage... Because in this situation, right, when this spoils, this now doesn't get spat out. Yeah, so experimenting with only adding more nutrients if there's not nutrients in this one. And this one is making nutrients when the spoilage comes out of this machine. But then that kind of involved you blacklisting spoilage from this, which doesn't really work. It was a nice idea to sort of go belts and braces. Because obviously the platonic ideal here is that you just never have to come back to Gleba. You know, you want this to be able to work remotely. If you have to get in the ship and come all the way over here to kickstart something, that's not good enough, right? You want it to work, like, every time, without fail. And so it is kind of working. But as we've established before, the best way to actually check these things is to go into editor mode, press the play button, whack up the game speed, delete any surface that, you know, doesn't actually need to be simulated right now, and just wait for something to go wrong, and then troubleshoot it like that. Just sort of create a test. This is like creating a test environment. And yeah, I can tell you there's still quite a lot of stuff to do. So let's go to the next iteration, shall we? Okay, this one's got probably the biggest set of changes. Much more Yamako. Much more. Still somehow not enough. But it's getting there. I'm reading the entire belt, by the way. I don't know if that was obvious. Just read the entire belt. So this splitter is the only point that the fruit changes lanes, or changes belts. So as long as you read all of this belt, all of this belt, and all of this belt, you are reading every belt that a fruit will ever be on. This is my belts and braces approach to making sure the spoilage comes out of here whenever it happens, is just putting it onto its own belt with its own inserter that then side loads and goes into here, right? So, mostly with Gleba you just need to make use of the fact that each belt is 2 lanes. So this lane is always fruit, this lane is always fruit, this lane is always spoilage, this lane is always nutrients, which can turn into spoilage. As soon as you start, like, oh, I'll just put this spoilage on this half of the lane as well, that's when things start to go wrong. Because this inserter will be like trying to add spoilage to a belt that's full of nutrients, and then the whole thing will just stall. It will find a way to stall. Trust me, it will. Balancing the outputs here. Yes, these will always be spoilage because these parts of the belts are always stalled in this splitter design. Always. That's just how the splitter works. As I say, it's the 2 lanes. So this goes in here, and then gets split there and there. Whereas this half comes in here. This half doesn't go anywhere. Whereas this half goes into here only, and then gets split there and there. And then with the purple, I should have obviously drawn this line. That doesn't ever go any further than that. So that is always half and half, always. Sorry, I know you know how the one-to-one balancer works, but maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. Maybe you never thought about it before. Again, I was having a problem here with jelly nuts spoiling in the machine and then not having the space on the belt, so I've had to change these 2 stack inserters that just do the jelly nut, and then if there is any spoilage, there's just some bulk inserters that do that. That's sped things up quite nicely. Yep. So that's exactly the same on this side. This is much better. This is much better. It's also very scalable as well. I'll have to bring this down a bit. Like, this can obviously easily be here, and then we can have all of these assemblers like this, or biolabs up here in this space. But yeah, it's not proof. It's kind of proof of concept, even though it is actually working and doing what I want. Yamako Mash and Bioflux makes the carbon, which then makes the carbon fiber. Why have you stopped working? Why is Gleba so like this? That was the completely wrong button. Okay, it suddenly started working of its own volition. What happened? Anyone? Wasn't paying enough attention. Alright, we'll have to keep an eye on that. This one is still doing this. It's probably not really necessary, but because this is the nutrients for the bioflux, it kind of does need a separate source of nutrients that isn't reliant on bioflux. Because if there's... if it's stalled for some reason, then you're not going to have any bioflux. The jelly nut. These need to be higher quality. Higher quality long-armed inserters, really. Well, maybe they can be... maybe they can be these, and they can just have another belt here like this. I don't really know. It's fine. It's fine. They're only spoiling because we're not getting enough Yamako in. Once the Yamako in the jelly nut is balanced, they won't spoil, because they'll be being used at the same pace. So this, yeah, this is making the carbon fiber, and then 2 lanes of eggs now. Finally work this out. What's strange about this system is if I make these logistics chests, then I can use the circuit network to tell other things to work and not work based on that. But because they're in logistics chests, robots will sometimes, because I've changed the Gleba shuttle to ask for 3,000, will load... this will be fully loaded, this will be fully loaded, but then the robots will move 1,000 from here into this rocket. And I can't see a way around that beyond making these steel chests, and then... but these can't be steel chests, because, well, they could, but the reason these specifically aren't steel chests is because then I need the trash unrequested thing to take the spoilage out. The only thing I could then do would be to not filter these to agricultural science packs and just have these insert anything into the ship. And then I do actually need a filter for the spoilage on the rocket, because sometimes they will spoil into the rocket, and then this needs to go into a purple chest, so it goes into here, which some of it gets burnt and some of it gets kept for using in carbon to make the carbon fiber. There we go, we got there in the end. And then finally, I wish I'd have built this to start with. I really do wish this was the first thing I did, because this solved so many problems. Like, it was just so silly of me to try and do anything else except this. It makes so much rocket fuel for so little of anything. Plus the 50% productivity bonus, plus the rocket fuel productivity, which I've already been researching. So, yeah, don't mess around, folks. Just make rocket fuel on Gleba and put it in heating towers, and that's your power supply. I mean, I considered bringing in nuclear fuel at one point, and then I was like, whoa, what am I doing? What on earth am I doing? This recipe is basically free. Right, okay, and you'll notice that the spore cloud is quite large all of a sudden, and expansion is off, but I don't trust the spore cloud to not get absolutely out of control, and sometimes there are these little egg rafts which I've forgotten because they blend in on the map. So I do want to do a belts and braces approach, so I have made a side wall and corner wall that uses the electricity turrets, because electricity is very good against pentapods. Let's spawn a pentapod, shall we? Let's spawn a medium one. Yeah, see, it's not bad. Can we spawn a whole bunch of strafers? Whoa, that's probably too many. But it coped with it. Oh, we lost a turret, but obviously that's never actually going to happen, is it? Let's be honest, that's never going to happen. What may happen is this. This may happen. But I'm hoping that by the time that happens, we will have researched a few more levels of electric weapon damage, because we are very much not doing this at the moment. And it's very cheap. And each tier is 70%, so I'm hoping that by the time that may become an issue, because what is evolution on Gleba at the moment? 0.35, yeah, because we're just not proactively doing anything. That will just sort of, in theory, solve itself. Okay, a few more things need to happen here. Whoa, this episode's gone on a long time. Bloody Gleba. Okay, this is the last iteration of this now. This is working as well. If there is an edge case, it's so edge, I have yet to find it. Fruit! There is a... oh, I should put a circuit condition. There will be... I did do it. It must not be in this version of the save file. A circuit condition on this Yamako to not let more Yamako through once we have X amount of carbon fibre. Bioflux, 2 rows of eggs for now, just while we make sure everything's okay. There's also a logistics network condition. If we have X amount of Gleban science packs in the system, none of these inserters will pick up any eggs and put them in. So every single egg will go through and get burned. That did mean I had to add more heating towers, because the number of heating towers I had weren't keeping up, because the eggs burn relatively slowly in comparison to the spoilage. But that does at least mean that the spoilage goes through other ways, and every now and then this does hit 0, and then this just goes... Spoilage goes... Oh, it almost did it there. There he goes! And then we find a few more eggs. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Plus we're only burning this spoilage. This is the spoilage on here. So we're always making nutrients from Bioflux, but it is what it is. So this is fine. This is working. Now, of course, the problem we have is that we're not actually... We don't have the infrastructure on Nalvis to use this much science, but that's very easily solved. And now that we've gotten Gleba under control... We do the old trick here. We have an inserter that only puts Bioflux in a chest when there is a ship that says, I need Bioflux. And then that Bioflux goes to Nalvis, and we use that Bioflux to make more Biolabs and more capture bot rockets, so that we can go and farm these 2 nests, which we captured a long time ago and have since fallen back into enemy hands, but at least they will not be auto-targeted by the artillery, so we can just go and recapture them and use that to get some biter eggs, and then that will get us the stuff that we want. So let's very quickly do that, because I've done it. I'm not going to save it for the next episode now. This episode's already an hour long, so whatever, let's do it. Here we go. They're being captured. There we go. They're being captured. I built some personal laser defenses and put them on me just so I didn't have to bring literally anything else, and then once that job's done, I'll put the roboports back. This will drain all of my batteries very quickly, but it is what it is. Bioflux. That's really not what I wanted to happen. Good job, even distribution. We'll take these eggs, we'll build a whole bunch more biolabs with them. We will put some of them into this to make extra productivity modules, because then we can put prod module 3s in here. I've already put speed module 3s in the beacons. But if I put prod module 3s in the biolabs, we will get loads of science. Loads and loads and loads of science. And we'll do this by hand. We'll automate biter eggs another time. It's not really that critical, in theory. In theory. Okay, there we freaking go. Good God. What an ordeal. So currently the biolabs are just being upgraded one productivity module at a time. And this will be able to consume some agricultural science. Still probably not as much as we're making, but whatever, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I expanded the grid leftways to do this, because I just wanted to get this done quickly. I didn't want to move the bloody landing pad I really should have just made this like 3 high in here and have the landing pad somewhere else, but whatever. I just wanted to get this done just to at least show you that it is there. And we're up to 591 science. At least we will be, but obviously the problem we have is that that was because the green and red belt was full, which it is now not. It is now empty. Space science, not a problem. Loads of space science ready to go on the space science platform. You know, but you can see that even this is actually lowering now. But these are good problems to have. This means that we can expand stuff. So we can come... Next time, we'll come back to Nalvis. We'll get extra red, green science. For sure. Blue and purple, probably, definitely. And then once we've got a decent number of that, we can start farming mining productivity, steel plate productivity, and then we can just let that tick up. We'll go to Aquilo after that, and oh yes! I've not put any of these Gleba blueprints in the book yet, because honestly I just don't trust 100% that they work. And I know I went through the whole rigmarole of doing Gleba blueprints before, but these were back when I was doing it in loops. And I've since come to the conclusion that I don't like doing them in loops. I went back to Gleba in an episode even later. Yeah, Agricultural Science Mark II, Jelly Nut Mark II, and made them better, but they were still loops. And they just... the loops are fine, but they're just a bit messy for me. I'd rather just have something like this. And I want this to be properly good, right? And this won't be properly good until we start taking biter eggs back to Gleba and use those to make overgrowth jelly nut soil. And we may as well just leave this for as long as we can, because we're going to want to stockpile a lot of spoilage for that process, and a lot of seeds. A lot of seeds for that process. So the longer we leave this, the better, really. Because we should be able to get overgrowth soil on a lot of this, and it's not so critical for the Yamako, because there is a lot more space for the Yamako, but we do, you know, we'd like to have as much of it as we can. Not actually been attacked by the... What the hell? Oh, alright. Does these have an internal battery? Is that why it's saying there's still turret range? Or... Oh, I should have fixed that before I left. No, how frustrating. I'm back on Nalvis now. It's alright. Shouldn't cause that many problems. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment. And if you want to see more Factorio, be sure to subscribe. I will put those Gleba blueprints in the book eventually, once I know they work and once they're at scale. But, you know, Gleba's hard, as everybody knows. Skill issue much? Alright, yeah, next time we'll get Nalvis up to 1,000 science per minute, at least of the first 4 sciences. And then we can use all of that Gleba science to, 1, get a lot of these done, more plastic productivity. Rocket fuel productivity is always good, and also we can put Gleba through its paces once we're making 1,000 science per minute. How do we get biter? Where's biter cultivation? There it is. Alright, yeah, we probably need to go to Aquilo before we worry too much about anything fancy like that. Okay, any questions, of course, leave them in the comments. I will do my best. Other than that, take it easy. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.